In the beginning, we see a spooky forest that isn't on any map. People say it traps lost travelers forever. And John is running through this forest, desperately trying to escape before nightfall. But he keeps ending up in the same spot. There, a signboard that say "Point of No Return." Suddenly, a flock of birds flies over John, and he realizes it's already night. In a desperate attempt to find refuge, he tries to climb a tree, but the branch snaps, causing him to tumble to the ground. Terrified, John reaches for a knife in his bag, but before he can wield it, a mysterious creature emerges and swiftly drags him away. Meanwhile, in the bustling city, Mina, an American immigrant and talented artist, works at a pet store. One afternoon, her boss assigns her the task of transporting a bird to a zoo in a neighboring city. Mina names the bird Darwin and takes him home for the night. The next day, Mina leaves the city in her car to deliver the bird, driving through the countryside. While Mina is driving, her twin sister calls her. Mina doesn't pick up the call, but she listens to the voicemail instead. In the message, her sister scolds her for not attending their mother's memorial. Mina ignores the voicemail and drives away, not noticing the sign with many missing people posters. A short while later, Mina is driving through the forest and realizes she doesn't know where she is. Mina's phone and car radio stop working just before her car breaks down, leaving her stuck. She gets out of the car and sees a sign that says "Point of No Return." This makes her think that someone might live nearby, so Mina goes back to the car to get her bag and her pet, Darwin. Then she starts walking around and calling for help. When she gets no help, Mina decides to go back. But when she turns around, the car is gone. Mina has to keep walking to find a way out. When it gets dark, a lot of birds fly over her and she hears some noises. She sees an old woman running nearby. Mina, feeling desperate, runs after the woman and sees her go into a building. The woman tells Mina to hurry inside if she wants to stay safe. Mina goes inside and finds two more people there. The old woman introduces herself as Madeline, and the other two people are Kiara and Daniel. They call the building the Coop, and they also got lost in the forest, so they hide there now. The group takes Mina to a window with a mirror. Madeline explains that the creatures outside are called the Watchers. They come every night to watch them through the window and leave by sunrise. Madeline makes Mina step forward, and they can hear the Watchers clapping to welcome her. The next day she leaves the Coop, even though the others warn her not to. As she walks through the forest, she hears someone whispering her name, and sees a girl far away asking why she did that. Scared, Mina starts running, and reaches the top of a hill. There, she realizes she's in the middle of a huge forest that seems endless. Suddenly, Madeline came and tells Mina that everyone has tried to leave, but no one gets successful. The forest makes people see things that aren't real, and can make them go crazy. The signs are marked placed in a circle about a half-day's walk from the Coop and act as a boundary. Crossing the mark placed means never coming back. Mina asks who made these signs, and Madeline tells her that a man named the Professor made them, and since night is about to fall, Mina has no choice but to go back to the Coop with the others. In the Coop, Daniel gives a speech to announce that Mina is back for the show, while Kiara plays some music and dances for the Watchers. And Mina finds a DVD of a reality show and tries to distract herself by watching it. The next day the group goes out to look for food. Ciara shows Mina how to identify medicinal plants. Ciara tells Mina that Daniel often gets headaches and that John is her husband. John left 6 days ago, and they haven't heard from him since. Ciara also tells Mina about Madeline's theory that seeing a Watcher could make someone go crazy. Then Kiara shows Mina a burrow and explains that there are many of them all over the forest. These holes are connected by tunnels underground, and that's where the Watchers stay during the day. Kiara then surprises Mina by admitting that she and her husband, John, arrived in the forest about 5 months ago, although she's not exactly sure because she lost track of time. Later, Madeline tells Mina the rules for staying safe. They must always face the mirror, never open the door after dark, avoid the burrows, and stay in the light. The three of them say the rules together in a creepy way. As time goes by, Mina keeps herself busy by watching the reality show and drawing in her sketching. Afterward, she looks at the mirror and hears noises outside, but she doesn't really believe they're real. One night, Mina goes to bed too early, and the creatures outside start making loud noises. So Madeline makes her look at the mirror until the creatures calm down. Later, Daniel goes to check their animal traps. Mina goes with him, and Daniel tells her that Madeline used to be a university teacher, which is why she thinks she knows everything. Daniel also mentions that Madeline has been in the forest for 8 months. Then she asks Daniel if he has ever seen a watcher, and he says no. Mina finds it odd that Daniel has never seen a watcher. Besides that, Daniel and Mina don't fully believe Madeline's story. Afterward, Mina suggests going into a burrow, even though Daniel is scared and tries to stop her. But using a rope that Daniel holds, Mina goes down into a burrow and looks around with a lighter. In the burrow, she finds a lot of old, abandoned things, like a newspaper from 1992 and a video camera. She also finds a bicycle and sends it up to Daniel using the rope. Just then, she hears a strange noise in the dark and calls for Daniel, but he doesn't answer. Suddenly, a hand with 6 fingers reaches out of the darkness and speaks in a strange language. Mina screams again and finally gets the rope back, then climbs out. Later, Mina shows Madeline and Chiara the things they found in the burrow, saying they found them under a big rock. Mina thinks the bicycle could help them escape, but Madeline disagrees and can tell Mina has seen something unusual. Madeline keeps questioning Mina about what she saw, but Mina says she didn't see anything. Meanwhile, Daniel connects up the camera to the coop's power supply and mentions that the professor likely installed it when he built the place. He also connects a TV, so now they have a basic surveillance system. That night, the group sits at the table, waiting for something to show up on the screen. Suddenly they hears knock on the door. The person speaks, and Chiara is happy to recognize John's voice, who is asking to be let in. Madeline quickly says no, reminding Chiara that the watchers can trick them, while John keeps begging and saying he's hurt, which causes an argument. During the argument, Madeline makes Mina and Daniel admit they messed with a burrow. Chiara still wants to help her husband, so Madeline tells her to ask him something only she would know. She asks him what book I am reading, but John can't remember the book Madeline is reading, even though they bought it together because it reminded him of her. Chiara, still not believing it's a trick, asks John to show his face on the camera. John appears on the screen and asks for help before being dragged away. Then suddenly something hits the camera and breaks it. Seeing this, the group quickly stands in front of the mirror while the angry creature outside keeps hitting it until it cracks. The next day, Madeline throws the bicycle back into the burrow, hoping to calm the watchers. Then she looks at Mina and says, "Are you done breaking the rules?" After that, Mina keeps drawing the signs and says that the forest is messing with her mind. She marks the trees she has already checked. Weeks go by, and the days get colder and shorter. And everyone has given up hope of escaping and is starting to break down. While walking through the forest, she hears Madeline yelling at Daniel, blaming him for not catching any food recently and saying they might starve soon. She then goes into the coop where Chiara is watching a TV show and tries to talk to her, but Chiara ignores her. So Mina starts drawing on the floor, but when she looks at Chiara, she realizes Chiara is gone. Mina runs into the forest and finds Chiara standing at the edge of a burrow, thinking about ending her life to be with John again in the afterlife. Just then, they hear a scream and follow the sound to find Daniel tying up Madeline, and Madeline says Daniel has gone crazy. But Daniel says they are now playing by their own rules before running back to the coop. Chiara chases after him, but Mina stays to untie Madeline. After that, the two run back to the coop, but find that Daniel and Chiara have locked the door. At that moment, birds start flying around them, so they have to run and hide in one of the traps, which smells rotten and might hide their scent. While Chiara and Daniel stand in front of the mirror, a watcher shows up above the trap but can't find the women, so it runs toward the coop. It stands tall and roars, calling more scary watchers. When they get too close to the coop, Daniel tells them that 2 women are missing, so the watchers start looking for the missing women. When the area around the coop is safe, Mina and Madeline run to the door and plead for help. Mina begins to tell the story of how she accidentally caused her mother's death, and how she can't bear the guilt. Mina warns Daniel that he will be haunted by the same kind of mistake. When Daniel hears her speak, he opens the door. Mina and Madeline quickly go inside and lock it. Then Madeline angrily tells Daniel that she should have killed him months ago, but now they need to focus on the watchers. After that, the group stands in front of a mirror, and Madeline explains that she went to the forest for research. On her first night there, she saw a watcher that looked like a twisted version of herself. The watchers appear in many old stories and are also called changelings, the winged people or fairies. They observe humans to learn about them and eventually want to become like them. Suddenly, a watcher starts knocking on the door, pretending to be Kiara and asking for help. Soon, more watchers begin climbing over the coop, mimicking the humans' voices to lure them outside. So they pushes a table against the door. Then Kira notices a square shape on the floor under the carpet. As the watchers become more aggressive outside, Daniel hits the square until it opens, revealing a bunker. The group quickly goes downstairs with Darwin and closes the hatch just before the watchers break into the coop. They turn on the lights and discover the professor's old workspace. It's filled with files, books, and enough food to last them a long time. There's also an old computer without internet, but Mina finds video diary entries that began in 2009. In video, Professor Rory Kilmartin talks about how fascinated he is by the creatures that watch him through the window, and each video shows him gradually losing his sanity. And he eventually reveals that the people he hired to build the coop were killed by the watchers every day. In another video, Rory says a watcher appeared to him as a little girl, and he wonders if humans could use that ability. The next video shows that Rory captured a watcher and tried to befriend it, but the creature was very angry. The last video, recorded on day 300, shows Rory admitting defeat. He planned to kill the watcher and end his own life, but he left a message in case someone found the videos. Rory says he left a boat on the river beyond sign 134, and you can find it by following the birds. Rory also asked the viewer to go to his university office and destroy all his belongings. Mina cries when she hears gunshots in the recording. The group decides to leave on the boat in the morning. The next day, the group follows Mina's marks until they reach sign 134. There, they free Darwin and follow him through the forest. And eventually, they find a stone marker. Madeline explains that this is where fairies were imprisoned after they lost their war against humans. Since then, the fairies have been trying to come back, but they've lost their wings and magic, so they can't handle being in the sun. As the group keeps running, and birds fly around them, signaling that it's getting dark. Afterward, they hears the watchers coming, so they rush to the river. The women get on the boat, but Daniel hears John's voice and stops. A few seconds later, Daniel shows up dragging John to the shore. Chiara tries to warn him that John isn't real, but it's too late. The fake John changes shape and kills Daniel with its claws. Then the fake John's body goes blank, and more watchers gather around to watch the trio as they row away. Madeline reassures the others that the watchers can't leave the forest. In the morning, the women and Darwin find a bridge and wait there until a bus comes. Luckily, the driver lets them on, and they can relax as they head back to the city. Later, while Mina is showering, she keeps thinking about her mother's death. Her mother had been lying in the middle of the road, and her sister was calling for her, showing scars on her face. The next day, Mina goes to the university, pretending to be Rory's niece, to carry out his last wish. In Rory's office, she finds the coop's blueprint and first draft of a research paper on the watchers, and a tape recorder with some of Rory's research that matches an illustrated scroll. Before the war, fairies lived peacefully with humans, sometimes even becoming friends or partners. These couples had half-fairy children who could walk in the sun. Rory believed these children might still be living among humans. She then goes to another room where Mina looks at a large piece of art and finds some photos that shock her. After that, Mina goes to see Chiara and shows her some pictures. These pictures reveal that Madeline was actually Rory's wife. Unfortunately, Madeline passed away in 2001 due to lung cancer. Mina thinks that Rory tried to use a watcher he had captured to bring his wife back to life, and that this watcher turned into the Madeline they met. Just then, a car arrives at the house, and the real Chiara shows up. This means that the Madeline watcher has been pretending to be Chiara the whole time. The real Chiara came inside, and the watcher climbs on the ceiling before changing into John. It uses John's voice to distract Chiara and knock her out. Mina tries to escape, but the watcher catches her and starts throwing her around while complaining about humans. It then changes into Daniel as Mina falls, a mirror breaks, and she grabs a piece of it to defend herself. However, the watcher just drags her around and thanks her for helping it escape the forest. The watcher then goes outside and changes into Madeline. It explains that it always wanted to leave the forest because the other Watchers made fun of it for being able to walk in the sunlight. They called it names like Daywalker and Deformity because it could walk in the sunlight. Wanting to get away, it went to Rory, hoping he would help it escape. When Rory tried to shoot the Watcher, it swiftly killed him first. Within moments, the Watcher changed into Rory and then into Mina. It grabbed the real Mina by the neck to kill her and take her body. In a desperate bid to save herself, Mina revealed that Rory had a secret, so the Watcher let her go to hear it. Mina told the Watcher about half-bloods and how there are more of them hiding among humans. The Watcher understands that while it was living as Madeline, it could feel human emotions because of its mixed blood. Suddenly, its body underwent a transformation, revealing wings. It then took flight, landing on the roof, and tells Mina that it hopes she's right about there being more creatures like it. Then, it flies away. Afterward, Mina checks on Ciara, who, thankfully, is unharmed. Later on, Mina visits her sister and her children to reconcile. During her visit, she shares her harrowing experience in the forest, and mentions that she sometimes feels like the Madeline Watcher is hiding in the crowds, watching her. The Watcher can change its appearance, but it often looks like the little girl Rory saw. Meanwhile, at the window, Darwin looks out at the streets, and the Watcher looks back at him.